Cool. So, Mr Moshiri, firstly, thank you for agreeing to meet with me today and for also agreeing to answer some of the questions that we know Evertonians are keen to get answers to. The Fan Advisory Board has been carrying out a number of sort of in-person and virtual meetings over the past couple of weeks, and supporters are concerned about the current position of the club and are now seeking reassurance about the future. I hope you do appreciate that some of these questions may be challenging, but they do come from a place of passion and care from fans for their club. Supporters are very frustrated and worried at the moment, and as I'm sure you know, they are voicing the concerns against the club's hierarchy. I suppose that the first place to start is I know that you're aware of the campaign group at the moment and their activities. What would be your message to them and other Evertonians who are unhappy with where things are at the moment?
I've read all their concerns. As I listed it to you before the interview, every point raised by every fan group is in my diary. And I'm sensitive. I deal with everything.
Yeah. Okay, so it could be argued, if you compare the board of directors at Everton with other Premier League clubs, that we have a small board in terms of numbers, some of which are fulfilling executive roles. Would you consider adding more expertise to the board, be that in a football or a business capacity?
All aspects of a football operation is not run by the board. We have a director of football. Substantial part of expenditure in a football club is incurred on the football side. Kevin Thelwell, the director of football, is primarily responsible for recruitment, academy development, the medical science. So all these facets of the football business is run by Kevin Thelwell under the board. There are 26 additional appointments recently made after our review. It's been an exhaustive review. I am going through every part of the review that was made. In some areas, we haven't progressed as much as we wanted, such as recruitment. But we're dealing with it. We make additional appointments. Every part will be considered. And we are not complacent. We understand where we are. But whenever you try to make dramatic changes, the results will not appear next day. We need patience, but they will come through. And if we need additional personnel, we employ. If we think the board needs additional executives with different, more diverse skills, we'll appoint them. But we cannot just appoint them under pressure and disrupt the business.
You recently expressed your faith in the board of directors, and while there are some supporters who question their competence, can you talk about where your faith in them comes from and how you measure their performance as board members?
I think it is a great time to be able to talk to fans, and I've sent a few open letters. I've actually liked to meet fans in person, to have a face-to-face with them. This is the most critical time in our history, and it's almost an existential point. Bill Kenwright is one of the most loved and respected men in football. And Denise, my CEO, I've seen firsthand the work she does on stadium, on all facets of club development. We have a very able finance director, a very experienced Premier League finance director who's a chartered accountant, and one of our former legends on the board. So the skill set, the mix is good. I have faith in this board. In the past, I have removed directors and I've appointed directors. I'm not shy to make changes. We make changes when there is a need, and we will be ruthless. We need calm and we need to go past our current position on the pitch. I feel the pain. I hear what the fans say. They have points. We'll be addressing them. I don't miss out anything. I have a list of all the points. And I deal with everything. I'm committed to this club. Not just the stadium, but to join the elite. But I need your help. The fans are the most important part of the Everton institution. We need to go through this together. Only we can go through this together. Everton's been dependent on Goodison and the 12th man. I know that we are much the weaker without the full-hearted support of the fans. And I'll do whatever it takes to get fans on board. I meet them, you can talk to me, but I'm on it 24 hours a day. It's not a position which is sustainable for a club of our standing. And we just need to address it. But we can only address it together.
Yeah, and the recognition there that the fans are instrumental is massive. Have you considered, or has the football club considered, ever having a fan on the board of directors?
Look, in my industrial businesses, from time to time, I've had a member of the trade unions to sit on the board. And it's never a bad idea. But I think the goal congruence, the same objective must be shared among us. And we need to believe in that. And board representation is not, a solution. It's not a bad idea. I'm open to it. But more forums, more dialogue, more communication, maybe selected numbers of fans talking to director of football, going through Finch Farm to understand the extent of work which is being done to revamp. And remember, this is an old club, it's a historic club. When I bought it, I said, I don't want to preside over a museum. We want to be competitive. And I thought, to change the culture, you need a symbol, and I still believe in it, that as a club in the Northwest, with the most modern and most impressive stadium, our fans, we have something to fight for, a home to fight for. But a glossy stadium, a great masterpiece in architecture, will not support us alone on the pitch. And we are aware of that. I support additional recruitment. We'll get there, but we can only get there together. Players cannot be worried before going on a match at Goodison. These are our players. They wear the Everton shirt. We need to fight for them. We need a striker. We'll get one. We strengthen the team. And I have no doubt the second half of the season will be stronger. Any deficiency in team performance will be dealt with. That's the objective. And the objective will be achieved together.
So you've obviously mentioned the stadium there as well. So under your ownership, sort of what are your other goals and ambitions for Everton?
Ambition for Everton is always to be among the elite. We were part of the elite. And our goal is never to be in the bottom three. Our ambition is to play European football. And we haven't succeeded today, but we have laid the foundation to do it. And not just through communication, hollow words, but through implementation and demonstration to fans we share this step-by-step progress to success together.
Okay, so thank you for sort of outlining the sort of longer term vision. So I'm assuming that the club has a plan to sort of get out of the current situation that we're in.
Yes, we have a plan, and the plan is in place. In terms of recruitment, it's about performance, and every part of the performance is being measured. The weaknesses are analyzed, and we are addressing them. We have the window to address it.
A lot has been made of the strategic review of football operations that took place, or commenced about 12 months ago, and it's obviously been much publicised. Did that include specifically player recruitment?
Recruitment was a big part of it, and Kevin Thelwell has concentrated on that. The medical department strengthened, and we are still strengthening the medical. That's the most important part of the performance criteria. Another 10% utilization from a player by efficient rehab, like early diagnosis, would lead to extra points. That's the department, and our injury list has shrunk, and it will improve. At the academy level, a number of appointments, high-level appointments have been made to attract better quality talent at different age group. So a lot of work has gone into academy by Kevin. I think the coaching staff are also monitored and reviewed by Thelwell, and he writes detailed match reports after each game, and detailed injury reports are presented to us. So the information base, the database, has significantly improved. And I think on recruitment, we still have room for improvement. We will improve. That's the most important part of the whole sport competitiveness, finding that early talent. And we are looking at a few more appointments on that. That is, I think, what is interesting to fans and me, sport. There are appointments on the commercial areas to improve better quality sponsorships, more commercial deals, and all those areas are covered. Stadium, I must say, that area is probably the best performing area of our operation currently. The only fixed contract in the history of stadium construction in the UK, on time, on budget. Of course, that's something that is not tangible by fans today, but once we get through the current underperformance, I think fans can start with me dreaming about the new stadium, Europe, and everything that goes with that type of facility.
Yeah. Okay. You mentioned Kevin Thelwell a few times now. So, and he's our third director of football within 6 years. So, is that role as in a director of football still something that you believe in, and have they been allowed to do their jobs?
I think director of football is important. Clubs which are not very successful, they all have directors of football. The function of what we used to be called the gaffer is just too much now. There are interviews, press. The functions is immense. What you need to do for sponsors, and no manager has time to do scouting in the fashion that David Moyes or Alex Ferguson used to do. The current managers are close to continental coaches. They are trainers. So they have players that they need to train and improve by coaching. but the recruitment department needs to provide them with what they need. If they need a right back, if they need support at striking level, that's what they need to come up with. But the process at Everton is a very well-structured process. So there are requisition forms for a new player, and either director of football or the manager will propose a player's name. Then, once they both signed, a document will be sent to the chairman and myself, and the document will involve detailed scouting reports, recommendation of the manager, the director of football, and any references from experts who know the particular player in terms of character and everything else. And then once the chairman signs, I sign. So that is a well-structured. In the 6 years I've bought the club, since I bought the club, I never proposed a single player. It goes through a well-structured system. Why hasn't it worked? I think that's a big question. You know, the structure is there. We've had Steve Walsh from Leicester, a very experienced scout. Marcel Brands, one of the top European sporting directors. And now Kevin Telville. So I think the reasons are that some of the deficiencies in various departments of football management were not addressed. And those are imperative to proper recruitment. That affects the performance, availability, so financial fair play, because once you buy these players, you cannot buy additional players. And we got, you know, very little out of these players. And our additional expertise in the medical department and rehab maybe will support more utilization. I think that's the way, that's what we saw from the review. You need to have all the other areas in place. And that's what has been taking place. I think most things are at a good level. Talent spotting still need to improve.
We touched on the stadium a little bit earlier, and Evertonians are very grateful for the role that you've played with the new stadium. Do you remain fully committed to delivering this project?
Completely. I think that is important. You know, that's the most important part of the Everton project for its future. We've suffered 3 years of COVID, and under this board, they've managed to contain, progress the project, and get it to a point that we are very close to stadium financing, and I hope to be able to announce that to you. So this is a board which is committed 24 hours, 7 days a week. Unless you secure that income, and you will always have financial fair play problem with that income that we have from our stadium. And of course, thousands of fans cannot actually see the pitch because of the columns. So stadium was never a luxury for Everton. For us, it was a necessity. But because it was a necessity, we had to do it. If we want to start this stadium, today the cost will be well in excess of £1.1 billion. So there is a lot of value for our fans. This stadium remains well past my tenure, well past our lives. You know, it's for the future fans and not for me. So I think it is important for all of us, for Everton, City of Liverpool, for the Dockland project, and it should be part of that hope for our fans that should be translated onto support on the pitch to get us through this. The very first time I bought the club, fans used to come to me on the train, and I said, oh, you know, they're lovable. They're the best fans in the world. And I'd come from Arsenal. And I said, Jesus, isn't that amazing? I'm so happy to be part of this great club with this fan base. And we haven't changed because we've lost half a dozen games. We're the same Evertonians. But I just hear you and I hear you loud. And I share the pain, but we deal with it. It's my responsibility and I deal with it.
Some supporters have been frustrated by engagement and communications from you as the owner. Will you and other board members commit to having more sessions, potentially face-to-face with Evertonians?
And I think it's very desirable that there are sessions where director of football, the manager addresses the sporting issues, shareholders, financial issues, and any other concerns of the fans need to be dealt with through proper, organized forums. And they need to be at the same knowledge base as the officers. And I support it.
So fans felt like they were being blamed for the club's current predicament. Can you explain what you meant?
I know, it's nothing like that. I said, I asked for patience. And I said, I've been impatient. And I've been so affected and responsive with fans' feelings that maybe I've removed some managers too early. And that's my criticism, not the fans. What I say to fans is we should all be a bit more patient, more measured, and implement changes on a more informed basis. When I see in a game that a child, a fan, is crying, it affects me. So, okay. So it was just sharing an experience, a feeling with the fans that we should all be a little bit more patient. It's no criticism. How can I criticize the fans? Fans are beyond criticism.
There's been a lot of media speculation, and I know you've tried to be clear previously, but if I was just to ask you bluntly, is Everton for sale?
The club is not for sale, but I've been talking to top investors, really quality, to bridge a gap on a stadium. I can do it myself, and the reason I want to do is to bring top sport investors into Everton for some of the reasons that the fan want improvement, more talent, and we are close to having a deal done. He's not selling the club at all. He's just bringing more expertise in terms of global sponsorship, in terms of commercial development, and a lot of specialist sport investors have this pool of knowledge, and that is to secure that for Everton.